welcome to another episode of Gadgets and Gizmos. My name is Gaurav Preti and this is what we have cooked up for you in this week's episode.
On the show this week, we have a 11,000 rupee smartphone with the specs of a 20,000 rupee smartphone. How's that? We also have this small thing that really makes some big noise. And Blackberry is back, but this time with an Android phone. All this and more on Gadgets and Gizmos.
Blackberry is trying to make another comeback with an Android smartphone. Yes, Blackberry Prive, their first Android device, has been launched in India at a very attractive price of 60,990 rupees only. Blackberry says this is the most secure Android device, and that could be true. So over to you, Sahil, who looks like Gulabo.
Of course, Gaurav, I wasn't going to wear black considering I was going for a Blackberry event. So I just decided to wear red. I went all out. I bought this rose. In fact, in the morning when I was shaving, I deliberately decided to cut my face and bleed a bit. Anyways, you're getting the drift. The big news out here is that Blackberry has finally launched its first Android phone. It's called the Prive and it's an interesting little beast. For starters, you get this gorgeous 5.4-inch screen. You get a beautifully sculpted design out here. You get the slide-out keyboard, and also it's running Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 808 processor, which was there in the Nexus 5X. Overall, specs-wise, this phone is pretty sorted. Anyways, this is causing me a lot of itching, so I'm getting rid of it. This phone is running Android, seemingly stock Android Lollipop, which is always great to use, but Blackberry has made a lot of cool changes under the skin. For instance, Blackberry claims they've made Android completely secure, so this phone does not suffer from the issues that normal Android phones suffer. So much so that you can't even install or change a launcher on it, which may not be to the liking of most people. Also, there are other features like the Blackberry Hub. They make its way back to Android, which is really cool, and it was a really great feature which you found on the Blackberry 10 smartphones. But if there's a big flaw with this phone, then it is its pricing. At 62,990, it is almost as expensive as the iPhone 6s, which is kind of a bummer. But still, stranger things have happened because Blackberry is clearly targeting corporates. In the meanwhile, you should check out this review of this phone next week.
Now somebody asked us how's the Vivo Y27L smartphone, and we said we have no idea until now, because we know that we have to know, and so will you.
This is the Vivo Y27L. It's one of the phone in the Vivo's budget-wise series. It was launched at around 13,000 rupees and now it's available for around 10. So, is the Vivo Y27L worth your money?
And I will answer that question later. For now, I want to talk more about the phone. This is the Vivo Y27L, and Vivo makes some good looking phone. We have seen their phones, earlier phones, and they were quite good looking, and same is the case with this one. In fact, everybody makes good looking phones these days. I'm happy, nobody's complaining. Yeah, they've used a nice mix of metal and plastic, and we really like this two-tone design, so to say. The size is just right, 4.7 inches, and it's pretty good to hold as well. Slim, lightweight, so yeah.
In the looks department, you will have no complaints. It's a solid and sturdy phone. You get a volume rocker and power button on the right, SIM card slot on the left, and SD card slot on top. At the back, you have the 8-megapixel camera along with dual LED flash. And at the bottom are your speaker grills. The 4.7-inch screen size is the perfect fit for your hands, and with 720 by 1280 pixel of resolution, the display is bright. But we've got used to Full HD display at this price, frankly speaking. The phone is running on older version of Android, strangely, and has its own UI on top called the Fun Touch OS. It brings in quite a bit of customization like notification access from bottom to top, and other settings here and there. Little practice will make it look good. There are some handy features as well, like gesture and motion, which provide you shortcuts for launching those apps.
So yes, for around 10,000 rupees, the Vivo Y2 is an option that you can consider after the Lenovo K3 Note U Eureka Plus, Xiaomi Redmi Note 4G and one or two more phones.
The 1GB RAM will affect multitasking but not the performance in general. Your regular usage would be dealt with nicely. Just don't open too many apps and you'll be good. The 8MP camera is decent but doesn't match the competition. The front 5MP camera is also a decent performer, and the 2260 mAh battery will just about last you the day.
Coming to the performance, the phone is powered by a Snapdragon 410 processor. Now, it's a good processor in the segment, it does a good job, but it's not really supported by the RAM, which is a meager 1GB. I think 2GB RAM should be the norm. So that was the Vivo Y2 and Sahil says that he has a cooler, better and more powerful budget smartphone for you, and he seemed pretty happy. So over to you, pretty thing on the swing.
Okay, Gaurav, now shut up, because I want to ask everyone a question. What do you expect in a phone? From the feedback that I have received, everyone expects an iPhone-like experience. At the same time, most people are unwilling to pay even 50% of the cost. Thankfully though, in the last year or two, things have changed in India. With the entry of multiple Chinese brands, we have seen phones that offer you around about 80 to 90% of the iPhone experience for half the price. And here today, I'm reviewing the new Le 1S, which promises to do more of the same, to move the needle even further. And it is offering some really power-packed specs. And in the last week or so, this phone has really impressed me. So let's find out more about this device. Mirrors don't lie, I'm really looking good, despite this blemish. Anyways, as I was saying, this phone has really floored me. It's really impressed me because there are multiple reasons for it. First of all, look at it. It looks so beautiful. It's got this full metal body. It even gets diamond cut chamfers. And it's in the same rose gold color as the iPhone 6s. So you're sorted on that front, it's got design covered. In fact, this kind of build quality is unheard of at around about 11,000 rupees. Internally, it gets the new MediaTek X10 processor, which essentially is their best flagship processor. It was there in HTC's One M9. So yeah, this phone gets basically the same processor which was there in a 50,000 rupee phone. And you also get 3GB of RAM and 32GB of memory for good measure. On the back, you get this 13 megapixel camera which takes some delightful macro shots in daylight. It's really good. On the front, you get a 5 megapixel camera which is pretty decent for selfies, and to wrap things up, you get a really consistent fingerprint scanner and also the new USB Type-C connector which supports fast charging. Overall, you're sorted in every way possible. Also, this phone is running Android, and the version of Android out here has been retooled in a way that it mimics iOS, so it gets the simplicity of iOS. So you're essentially getting an iPhone-like experience for 11,000 rupees, that is. While there's a lot to love about this phone, yes, frankly, there is a lot to love about this phone, but there are a few minor niggles that you would want to consider. Firstly, this phone is sold in a flash sale format, which basically means it's not going to be easy to procure. This rear 13 megapixel camera is really fantastic in the daytime, but by the evening, its performance starts to nosedive. For me, this is a big deal breaker because in the daytime, I am in the office. It's only in the evenings I'm chilling with my friends, and that's when I whip out the camera. So that's something you will need to consider. Also, the same story continues with the battery life, because by the fag end of the day, this phone starts to struggle and looks for the charger. Again, if you're a heavy user, this is going to be a very important decision maker. But overall, for around about 11,000 rupees, this phone offers unmatched performance. It looks like $1,000,000. It's built like one, and it has the performance to boot. It gets 2 thumbs ups from my side.
Well, all the smartphones are becoming bigger, thank God. Something is going small. I'm talking about Bluetooth speaker. They're coming really cool sizes and shapes these days and sound pretty cool. This week we have a speaker, Bluetooth speaker from Logitech, and somebody is working really very hard on the show.
This winter afternoon, it's so sunny. As you can see, I'm so lazy. Sipping this unbranded cola. My friend Gaurav Upreti is behind the camera, and that's why you don't see him right now. But we guys are in the mood to listen to some Pink Floyd, but there's nothing out here. I can only hear echoes of the car's horns, which are ringing outside. Well, we have this also out here. You wouldn't think it's a speaker, but yeah, it is a speaker. It's by Logitech's Ultimate Ears, and it's called the Roll. And it's quite unique. Let's check it out. If you have checked out the speaker in your vehicle, then the design of the UE Roll will probably remind you of that. Though it's much smaller, it's kind of tiny, though it packs a wallop with the sound, and you will be really pleasantly surprised with the amount of bass the speaker is able to deliver. Overall, the sound quality of this speaker is really top notch and actually manages to tingle the audiophile in me. And yes, I played echoes and it sounded sinful. The design of the speaker is also quite unique and really good because it's got this rubberized and fabric finish, which means it can be literally used anywhere, including situations where there's a lot of water like a swimming pool. It also gets a sling which can be used to hang it anywhere. Even you can carry it around like a purse if that's your thing. Overall, it's a really well designed product. It also comes with a companion app which is called the UE Roll, which is available for both the iPhone and Android. Through that, Logitech pushes out updates, and which means obviously the speaker becomes more powerful and more feature rich over time. And also you can pair it with other UE Rolls and create a multi-audio setup, which is a really cool thing to have.
You're still watching Gadgets and Gizmos, and I'm still Gaurav Upreti. It is time for some action now in our gaming segment, because that's the only place, only thing which is action packed in our life.
2015 was a year of AAA blockbuster games like Metal Gear Solid 5 and Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Part of the world's greatest city at its grandest moment.
And if you believe that, you're a bloody fool.
Science, technology, progress.
It's a devil's deal.
Fortunately, Assassin's Creed Syndicate is not one of those progressive titles, and it suffers from a litany of legacy issues that run the gamut from design to technical.
So we fight for justice.
However, with the new studio, Ubisoft Quebec, making its Assassin's debut, Syndicate does occasionally suggest a desire to effect change in an annual juggernaut so large that can barely be stirred. And we do see that desire being fulfilled to an extent. The open open world bloat that Assassin's Creed has been known for is trimmed considerably here, leading to a more streamlined experience. Meanwhile, the core world design has improved as well, shifting away from the focus on the realism in its virtual London and focusing instead on playability.
This is quite a pickle, isn't it?
Who are you?
The sanitary inspector.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate chooses wisely, leaves out multiplayer entirely, and pushes a lot of that baggage into the background, largely freeing itself up to make the most of Victorian London and have fun with sneaking, climbing, and stabbing, of course.
Sod it. We accept.
Syndicate is saved from mediocrity because of the quality of its lead characters, the brother-sister assassin duo of Jacob and Ivy Fry. Jacob plays the now familiar role of Enzio in a different time period, wisecracking his way through the situation and generally not giving half a damn about the Creed part of Assassin's Creed, while Evie is more level-headed and focused on Brotherhood's teachings.
For my brother.
For my sister.
For London.
For family.
Syndicate also does a good job of letting you largely stick with whichever twin you prefer. In side mission, you can choose to play as Ivy or Jacob, and aside from some very minor difference in the skill, the two play nearly identical. Story missions force you into one role or another, but they are given about equal screen time, and the swapping made sense in the context of the twins often opposing viewpoints on the correct path forward.
Is there a doctor nearby?
The latest iteration of Assassin's Creed Combat looks fast-paced and attractive. The sword cane became a favorite thanks to its delightfully brutal finishers. Technology dominates the era, but Alexander Graham Bell's The Era's Da Vinci doesn't have much to offer your arsenal outside of an electrical grenade, which is effective at incapacitating large group of enemies, but draws far too much attention as well.
That you employ your genius for the common good, Alec.
And if you're wondering if this is the year when Assassin's Creed finally fixes its long-standing problems with your character accidentally grabbing the wrong ledge or climbing the wrong wall, it sadly has not.
Well, we seem to have made an unscheduled stop.
But free running is good here as it's ever been. Syndicate doesn't get everything right. It doesn't solve all the serious problems, and at this point we are not sure if any one game could. However, it's the first step in a uniformly positive direction that the franchise has taken in years.
Time to see what's making news in the world of technology. It's time for Tech News.
Apple Inc. forecasts its first revenue drop in 13 years and reported its slowest ever increase in iPhone shipments this week as the critical Chinese market showed signs of weakening, suggesting the technology company's period of exponential growth may be ending. The slowdown comes as Wall Street analysts worry the company does not have another blockbuster product to replace the iPhone. Apple does not report watch sales, but it does not appear to have the making of being a hit on the same level as the iPhone a year after launch. The company said it sold 74.8 million iPhones in its fiscal first quarter. The 0.4% growth in shipment was the lowest since the product was launched in 2007. iPhone sales were expected to fall for the current quarter compared with the same quarter last year, CEO Tim Cook said on a conference call with analysts. And now, if rumors are to be believed, we could see the 4-inch iPhone 5S making a comeback in the form of the rumored iPhone 5SE. The iPhone 5SE could have the same processor and co-processors as the iPhone 6S, albeit with fewer pixels to push with a smaller display. Facebook Inc. smashed investors' expectation with a 52% jump in quarterly revenue as it sold more ads targeted at a fast-growing number of mobile users, sending its shares sharply higher after hours. The world's biggest online social network bucked the trend of underwhelming tech results from Apple Inc. and eBay in the face of economic uncertainty around the world and a strong US dollar depressing the value of overseas sales. Facebook's dominance in mobile advertising helped to allay Wall Street concerns over its heavy investment in messaging services like WhatsApp and virtual reality unit Oculus, which have not yet generated profits. CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who returned from 2 months of paternity leave this week, has said virtual reality represents the next major computing platform. The company has also begun monetizing some of its other units, such as photo sharing app Instagram, which surpassed 400 million users last year and began selling ads in September. The company, which has the world's most popular smartphone app, has also been benefiting from the surge in video views that has attracted advertising dollars. In the other news, Chinese company OnePlus has announced that it will sell its recently launched OnePlus X smartphone in invite-free now. Launched in November last year, the OnePlus X was available for buy via an invite-based system, with the company holding open sale for the device from time to time. The announcement is, however, applicable for global audience and does not cover India. That said, the company will likely make an India-specific announcement regarding the same very soon.
Alright, time for a wrap. We hope you enjoyed watching the episode, because that's all there is. There isn't any more. And we'll be back next week with more of Gadgets and Gizmos.